There is Whitehurst. Andrea Whitehurst getting the start, but Hasselback is at the ready. It's a tradition here in Seattle, as we will take a look at the 12th man in just a second. Steve Spagnuolo is the St. Louis coach, former Rams defensive coordinator from 1 and 15 to 7 and 8. And he'll have to wait before the opening kickoff for what's become a tradition here in Seattle. The raising of the 12th man flag, and it's normally a former Seahawk or a dignitary or a celebrity, and tonight it was Brian Blades who raised the flag, a very popular former Seahawk. And there he is, getting this crowd stirred up. Not that this crowd needs to get stirred up. Seattle's going to get the ball, the Rams to kick off. The final game of the regular season is underway. Leon Washington, the former Jet, who's returned 3 kickoffs for touchdowns. A flag is down, however. 2 of them, in fact, back at the 23-yard line. So it was going to be a pretty good run back. In all likelihood, will come back. Washington bringing it back 38.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 93. 10-yard penalty for the spot of foul. First down.
Craig Terrell. Take a look at the hold here.
They're on the left-hand side. That's sort of a takedown and a good one. You know, if you're going to do it right. But I tell you, if I were a special teams coach, I think I would reserve my largest fines for those penalties, because as an offense, when you start from your own 13-yard line, it's tough.
So Washington had given them what appeared to be pretty good position. Now it's Whitehurst making only his 2nd career start. Backed up Phillip Rivers for 4 seasons in San Diego. Got traded here, and he swings it out on first down to Justin Forsett. And Forsett will pick up a first down. He takes it out to the 26-yard line. Let's take a look at the Seattle starters.
Charlie Whitehurst, Clemson Tigers.
Marshawn Lynch, Oakland Ice City, California.
Michael Robinson, Penn State.
Mike Williams, USC.
Ben Obawanu, Auburn.
John Carlson, Notre Dame.
Russell Okung, Oklahoma State.
Tyler Columbus, Colorado.
Chris Spencer, Ole Miss.
Mike Gibson, Cal.
John Locklear, NC State.
And Marshawn Lynch introducing himself. He's been the regular starter, but Forsett is in there for the first 2 plays tonight. And Whitehurst slings it downfield, and getting open was Ruvel Martin. Inside the 30, inside the 20, and tackled at the 13-yard line. James Hall all the way down the field to tackle him. Ruvel Martin, 6th year at the Saginaw Valley State. And Whitehurst telling us the other day, he and Martin really work extremely well together, don't they?
Yeah, well, Dockery that time just completely missed on the blitz, and then Craig Dahl came out of center field for whatever reason and just allowed Ruvel Martin to get wide open down the field. Pete Carroll telling me before the game, hey, these guys have given up a lot of big plays. We're going to take our shots tonight with Charlie Whitehurst. Boy, did they ever.
61 yards, longest reception of Martin's career. From the 13, they swing it out to Forsett. He gets inside the 10 and then gets stuffed at the 9-yard line by the safety, Craig Dahl.
Well, I don't think they're too afraid of letting Charlie Whitehurst play, do you? I mean, they come right out, 3 straight passes, spread out the formation, not even going to try and run the football. Not that they've had any success, but Pete Carroll's certainly been around some big games in his career, and the heck, let's go fire it down the field.
Matt Hasselback, the longtime Seattle veteran, led him to the Super Bowl in 05. Whitehurst making, as we say, only his 2nd career start, the other one against the Giants earlier this season. Marshawn Lynch is in the backfield, and the former Buffalo Bill who came over in a trade in October, taken down behind the line by Chris Chamberlain. Let's take a look at that St. Louis defense.
Chris Long, the University of Virginia.
Fred Robbins, Wake Forest University.
Gary Gibson, Rutgers University.
James Hall, Michigan.
David Vobora, University of Idaho.
James Laurinaitis, The Ohio State University.
Chris Chamberlain, Tulsa.
Ron Bartell, Howard University.
Craig Dahl, North Dakota State.
Shumago Atobwe, Lord's Warrior, Stanford.
Bradley Fletcher, Iowa.
3rd down and 10 now. Whitehurst under pressure, and he's going to get sacked at the 16-yard line. There's a flag down. James Hall gets credit for the sack. He already has 10.5 coming into the game.
while the quarterback was in the pocket. Holding. Defense.
Wow.
Number 24. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
The cornerback Bartell. So instead of a field goal attempt, first down and goal.
Wow, huge play, because that sack was absolutely going to happen regardless of what happened with Ron Bartell on the outside.
Well, got his hands on Ben Obomanu.
He must have seen a little jersey being pulled away, because there wasn't a lot there.
First and goal now from the 7-yard line on the game's opening drive. Another swing pass. This time it is Golden Tate, rookie out of Notre Dame, drafted in the 2nd round. He is out of bounds just inside the 5-yard line. It'll be second down and goal.
Well, this is the biggest play of the game so far. Let's take one more look right out here and see whether or not there's a hold. There's a little jersey. I think on the front side with that left hand, you could see the receiver just sort of reflex back Obomanu. Must have been, believe me, the official had a much better look at that than we did.
Second and goal. Whitehurst is 4 for 4. Rolling. Comes back the other way. Touchdown, Mike Williams.
Well, you see it so often. Roll this way, throw it back across the grain as the defenders all move to their left. And for Mike Williams, what a long, strange ride it has been for him. Out of football for 2 years and comes back. And boy, what a first drive for the Seahawks.
5 of 5 for 85 yards passing for Whitehurst. Olindo Mari for the point after. It takes them 3 minutes and 22 seconds to take the lead in the battle for the NFC West Championship. Whitehurst, touchdown, 7-0. Kickoff by Mari. Danny Amendola to run it back. Runs up to grab it at the 15-yard line and take it back to the 25-yard line. And that's where Sam Bradford and his group will go to work, and let's meet them.
Sam Bradford, Oklahoma.
Steven Jackson, Oregon State University.
LaRon Robinson, Illinois State.
Brandon Gibson, Washington State.
Danny Amendola, Texas Tech.
Billy Badgema, Oklahoma State. Roger Saffold, Indiana University.
Jacob Bell, Miami University.
Jason Brown, Carolina Tar Heels.
Adam Goldberg, the University of Wyoming.
Jason Smith, Baylor University.
From the 25-yard line, Bradford, the #1 overall pick, throwing to the right side, and that's Alexander making the catch. Marcus Trufant is there to stop him in his tracks. Bradford has not missed a single snap all season. There was some question about his durability because he'd been hurt in his junior year at Oklahoma after winning the Heisman Trophy as a sophomore. People were concerned about his shoulder. He wins the job and hasn't missed a snap or a practice all season. 2nd and 11 from the 24-yard line. Jackson is the I-back, and again a slant this time, and that's a gain of 8. LaRon Robinson taking the ball out to the 34-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and short.
Well, you can see what they're trying to do with Sam Bradford. Let's just get him settled, a couple of quick, easy throws, throw it inside to Robinson and get this thing jump-started. I'll tell you what, with 2 young quarterbacks, my feeling was maybe they'll come out a little conservative, sort of let them feel their way. They're coming out firing tonight.
Playoff berth at stake, 3rd down and 1 from the 34-yard line. And now they give it to the up-back, and he's going to get stuffed, and that's Mike Carney, the fullback. And Seattle's run defense right there to stack him up before he can even get to the line of scrimmage, and St. Louis forced to punt after a 3 and out.
Well, this thing got stuffed right away. Penetration and short yardage. Mike Carney only 4 carries all season. I'm sure that the Rams were thinking they could catch him by surprise, but the slant got him.
Leon Washington back to return the kick. Donnie Jones, one of the better punters in the league. High floating kick. And it is dropped and fumbled, but out of bounds by Washington. And Seattle retaining possession at the 33-yard line. So their second possession upcoming. Their first culminated with this touchdown grab by Williams, with the Hawks on top, 7-7. Into the regular season, winner in, loser gone. Here's Whitehurst, who spent 4 years in San Diego and didn't throw a pass until this season here in Seattle from the 33-yard line. The play fake, rolling. Now he's looking back again to his left, and this pass is incomplete. Intended for Cameron Mora. Whitehurst was born in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Why? Well, his father, you might remember David Whitehurst, was a quarterback for the Packers. So he was born there, but he was really raised in the South in Atlanta. Dad still lives there. And he went to Clemson, goes to San Diego. He's really the third quarterback for most of the last 4 years behind Phillip Rivers and Billy Volek. And then Seattle brings him in to compete with Hasselbeck for the starting job at the beginning of the year. Here's Washington. And Washington comes up about 4 yards shy of the first, tackled by Bartell.
And you know, Charlie Whitehurst has had some opportunities this year. They make the deal for him. He comes over and everybody kind of said, who? He was a third-string quarterback in San Diego. They paid him big money, $10 million over 2 years, and he got some opportunities. He got a chance to play against the New York Giants, did next to nothing. Got a chance to play last week against the Bucks, really did next to nothing. So expectations were so low, and that first drive was just so explosive.
3rd down and 2 from the 42, and Whitehurst has to take a timeout. Timeout with 8:41 to go in the opening quarter. Quest Field, 7-0 Seahawks.
Well, Charlie Whitehurst certainly has made his presence known right away here for these Seahawk fans. First drive right out of the chute, and it was here we go. No warming up, no let's take it easy, get him in the flow of the game, throwing deep early on. And just continue to make accurate throws, looking completely under control, and then a little trick them on the end. 7-0, and for Seahawk fans, a sigh of relief because they haven't seen that much offense in a long time.
3rd down, short 2 after the timeout from the 41-yard line, and it's an inside handoff, and Forsett is able to pick up the first down. Forsett started the year as the starting running back, and then they brought Marshawn Lynch in from Buffalo. Ironically, the two of them, Forsett and Lynch, were teammates at Cal.
Well, a new starting left guard here, Tyler Columbus, is going to pull out in front of this thing. It's not a great block, but just good enough for Forsett to sort of bounce his way off, and all things going the Seahawks' way right now.
Lynch is back in the game, and Marshawn Lynch with a good run, an 11-yard run into Rams territory and a first down.
Well, I tell you, these guards are off to a good start. Mike Gibson that time out in front, and remember, the Seahawks have had 3 different starting guards at each guard position, so that has been a revolving door all season long. But Gibson getting out in front and clearing the way.
Seahawks with their 10th different offensive line combination in 16 games. From the 43-yard line, a toss here, and then reading it perfectly was number 90, George Selvey, rookie out of South Florida, stopping Lynch in his tracks for a loss of 3.
It was interesting to talk a little bit about the way the Rams played defensively. They've had so much success on outside runs this year, and they've given up most of their yardage inside, over 5 yards per carry inside. And you mentioned that to Laurinaitis, the middle linebacker, and he was like, what? Are you kidding me? He wasn't happy at all about that.
Yeah, he and Chris Long sitting there in the meeting yesterday, and they said, hey, we got to do something about that. 2nd and 13. And Whitehurst checks it off to the near side, and the catch is made at the 41-yard line by Cameron Mora, tackled by the former Giant Craig Dole. Just another of the former Giants. When Spagnuolo comes over from the Giants, a lot of coaches, they'll come over and they'll bring in guys who knew their system, and one of those was Dole.
Yeah, what do they have now? 5 guys that was on the Giants defense back in the day with Spagnuolo, and he wanted character guys. He said, we were not signing anybody that we did not personally know as a staff.
3rd down 7 now from the 40-yard line. And that pass is too far in front of Forsett. So the drive bogs down. Seattle right now has gained 108 yards to St. Louis's 9, with the Rams ready to get the ball back.
And that was a big miss right there. Charlie Whitehurst, his first poor throw of the night. He had Forsett wide open and looked like he had enough room to pick up the first down, just missed him.
That's Danny Amendola, who leads the league in combined yardage. That's receiving, kickoff returns, punt returns, and rushing. And John Ryan to kick it away. Fair catch called for and made by Amendola at the 10-yard line. Bradford will go back to work. A little more than 6 minutes to go in the opening period. 7-0 Seattle. Seattle, where there hasn't been a cloud in the sky for 3 days. It's been gorgeous, but cold. Temperature in the mid-30s right now. The ball is at the 10-yard line. Bradford off the play fake. He uses a lot of play action and then throws it to Jackson. And Jackson with a good run out to the 30-yard line. A pickup of 20 yards on the play. And Hawthorne makes the tackle.
Well, Steven Jackson just going to get the play fake. They're so used to him getting all the touches. He carries it more than just about anybody in the NFL. That time play fake to him, throw it to him out in the flat. And this is really an aggressive start for those in St. Louis who wanted to see him cut loose Sam Bradford. You're seeing that tonight as well.
A little bit of the old Sam Whites, as you would know, sugar huddle there. They didn't huddle up conventionally. The ball is at the 30-yard line. And Bradford throws incomplete over the head of Robinson. Covered by Trufant. Let's take a look at the Seattle defense.
Chris Clemens, Georgia.
Brandon Mebane, California.
Colin Cole, Iowa.
Kentuan Balmer, Weldon, North Carolina. Aaron Curry, E.E. Smith High School.
Rover Tupu, Tri-Town, Mass.
David Hawthorne, TCU. Marcus Trufant, Washington State.
Lawyer Malloy, UW.
Earl Thomas, Orange, Texas.
Kelly Jennings, the U.
Lawyer Malloy has been around 15 years. Lawyer Malloy played for Pete Carroll when Carroll coached the Patriots in the late 90s. 2nd down and 10. Play clock down to 1. And Jackson, who's been the workhorse for 7 years for this team, tackled by Raheem Brock, the former Colt. 1,000 yards again for Steven Jackson, a guy who has had a really good career but has barely scratched the postseason surface, played only in his rookie year in postseason.
And he has been the focal point for every defense that has played the Rams this year. That time the Rams went to their spread formation for the first time, and a big part of why they do that is to give Steven Jackson some running room.
Kenneth Darby comes in his spot, flanking Bradford in the backfield. 3rd down and 7. And Bradford slides to his left and has it knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It's Jordan Babineau coming in and knocking it down on a safety blitz, and it's 4th down.
Well, Jordan Babineau is, we all remember him from that Dallas Cowboys playoff game a few years back, but here he is just standing there, not really blitzing, just trying to make sure that nothing happened in behind him. And once again, Seattle's defense showing up big so far.
Yeah, safety quarter blitz.
They had 7 DBs in the game that time, so you're seeing a little bit of everything out of Seattle tonight.
Here's Donnie Jones. And he spins that one all the way down to the 15-yard line, and Washington doesn't call for the fair catch. Lucky. And gets buried by Quincy Butler. So Whitehurst will go back to work late in the first. Quarterbacks, father and son combinations, and we can walk you through some of that after Whitehurst takes his team up to the line of scrimmage on 1st down from the 14-yard line. Marshawn Lynch is the running back, off the fake, buying time. Whitehurst is mobile, and Whitehurst will step out of bounds after a gain of about 8 yards. You go back and there have been some phenomenal combinations. Peyton and Archie and Eli would head that list. And then Jack Kemp, originally in the American Football League, and his son Jeff playing with the Rams. Bob and Brian Greasy. You go through the years to Phil and Chris Sims. And then you've got David Whitehurst in Green Bay, 77 through 83. 2 years he was the starter there, 78 and 79. And son Charlie. Second and short, the ball is given to Michael Robinson, the fullback, and he carries out to about the 24, still just shy of the first down. 3rd and 1 upcoming.
I have never seen a fullback play like Michael Robinson does. He's in a 2-point stance to start every play, and even in short yardage plays. Look at him. He's standing up at fullback because he used to play quarterback, and he likes to read the defenses, but it certainly doesn't give you the forward momentum on a short yardage play that you'd like out of your fullback either.
Lynch is the running back, and Lynch is going to get stopped as he tries to go over right guard. Seattle is last in the league in rushing, and that's Chris Chamberlain coming in to make the tackle.
Yeah, they are really crashing hard down off the ends, and of course Seattle really doesn't, coming in right here, they don't run the ball all that well anyway. They haven't had a 100-yard rusher this entire season, and with all the changes on that offensive line and the fact that Alex Gibbs, their offensive line coach, basically retired just before the season started, they never have gotten anything going with the running game.
Average only about 85 rushing yards per contest. That won't get it done. Ryan's kick is a wobbly end-over-end kick that takes a sideways bounce. And Seattle down the ball at the 41-yard line with 2 minutes and 41 seconds remaining in the first quarter. How tough is it to win here at Qwest Field? Seahawks opened up this facility in 2002. 21 games over at home and 18 under on the road. False starts, the opponents average better than 2 false starts per game at Qwest Field. So it's been tough to win here through the years. It's been a little easier for road teams in the last couple of years, and Hasselbeck said the other day, we have to get our crowd back. He said it's our fault. Rams 1-7 since this park opened up. And then on a very slow developing and a play that will probably come out of the playbook forever, Robinson gets taken down by Will Herring. Loss of 9.
What a great play by William Herring. And Daniel Fells is going to come across the formation and try and get a kick-out block right here. And he just basically misses that. And on the outside, Will Herring, that's a beautiful play. And I tell you, defensively, you could see it in practice this week. I had a chance to watch them on Thursday. They were so amped up, they were so emotional, and it has just carried over to game time.
2nd and 19. And of course, that gets the crowd fully into it. After a 9-yard loss, Bradford. And he'll have that one knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Craig Terrell batting it. It will be 3rd down and 19 next.
Well, for Sam Bradford, he's really getting his first taste of playoff action. You know, everybody came into this game going, oh boy, if this thing ends up Charlie Whitehurst against Sam Bradford, here's the rookie of the year. And I said, wait a minute now, this is a rookie. This is maybe the toughest stadium in all of football to come into. Don't be assuming that this is going to be an easy walk just because the Seahawks haven't been playing well.
Under 2 minutes to go in the quarter. It's a 2-man rush, and the pass is still batted at the line of scrimmage. Curry got a hand on it. 2 men rushing, 1 stayed in the middle and 8 back. 4th down.
Well, Aaron Curry's going to get the knockdown, but it looked like he was offsides on the play. Let's see. If that's not offsides, I don't know what is. That should be an extra snap. And for Sam Bradford, he's lucky he didn't throw a pick there. I'm sure he was thinking we get a free play. Should have been a free play. Instead, it's a punt.
Curry was so sure he was offside, he was looking for the flag. Donnie Jones. He'll punt. Leon Washington. This is a line drive kick, and Washington runs up from the 30. And the former Jet coming back off a broken leg in his first year with Seattle to the 41-yard line. The playoffs begin next Saturday. We'll have both games for you on NBC. It's the Saints against the Seahawks first. The Jets go into Indianapolis second. Football night will start at 4 Eastern and 1 Pacific here on NBC. Penalty at the end of the play on the run back by Washington. Jerome Boger's crew working tonight's game.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, receiving team. I'm sorry. Correction. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team. Number 36. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Called it on Quincy Butler.
I tell you, there was another one right after that. Jordan Babineau basically took out the punter, Donnie Jones, on a pretty low block, and you're not allowed on special teams to be chopping on either side of the ball. I thought that might have been the call, but instead it goes against the Rams here. Right down in here. A little shot to the face. They're going to get it.
And he did it right in front of the line judge, so he couldn't get away with it. Line judge Gary Arthur throwing the flag. 15 yards and a first down at the Ram 44-yard line. Here's Lynch, and Lynch can't get out of the backfield. Brian Keel, another former Giant, making the tackle.
Well, you just wonder if Tyler Columbus ends up on the right assignment here. He ends up double teaming down, which gives nobody on Brian Keel. See the double team, instead of reaching out here, there's just nobody there to block Keel, and they get a free shot. That's about the third or fourth free runner in the backfield for Seattle that we've seen.
8 rushes for Seattle for 13 yards. A minute to go in the quarter. And second and long, Washington. And he gets tripped up and picks up about 6 yards on the play. Laurinaitis, the middle linebacker, making the tackle. So it comes down to this. Will Seattle be the first ever division champion going to the playoffs with a losing mark? Or will St. Louis get in and they'll be the third division champion to get in at 8-8?
You know, but this is the playoffs now. I mean, it really is. There just happens to be 13 teams in the playoffs because we got a play-in game tonight. So after tonight, the records don't matter anyway.
Off the fake, and Whitehurst under pressure, and that pass is slung out of bounds. And Chris Long comes in to put the heat on. It'll be fourth down.
And Charlie Whitehurst is going to have to be careful now because he's starting to hold the ball a little too long. This is a good pass rushing team. Chris Long getting a chance to play over on that left-hand side, and he has really blossomed this year. 8.5 sacks. You don't want to leave these tackles out there too long against Chris Long and James Hall. They're both very effective.
John Ryan with his third punt, and it's the 6th punt of the quarter between the two teams, and that is beautiful. Bounces at the 1, spins back to the 3, and that's where Bradford will start after a 40-yard punt off the foot of Ryan and 9 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, point the toe of the ball down, and if you ever play golf with Al Michaels, you know as soon as this thing hits the ground, he's screaming,
Please.
bite, bite.
Please.
Watch this one, just like an Al Michaels wedge shot right there, baby.
That's you, man. That narrow stance. You can pull that off. Didn't leave any divot here. Ball at the 3, first down. Rams trying to buy breathing room, and they hand the ball off to Carney. His second carry of the game takes him to the 7-yard line. They'll switch ends, and we will go to the second quarter. It's the end of the first quarter in Seattle. Playoff berth at stake. Seahawks 7, Rams nothing. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Andrea Kramer. Seattle, second quarter, second down and 6. And the Rams from their 7, and Bradford almost got sacked, and he's able to get it away to Daniel Phelps, the tight end, and that will be a first down. Raheem Brock almost knocked them down to the goal line.
Heads-up play by Bradford that time. Raheem Brock is not going for any fakes at all. He's going straight for Sam Bradford, and if Bradford didn't get his head around quickly, that one was going to end up in a safety.
It was that close to 9-0. Instead of first down, Bradford gets planted in the end zone but gets the pass away. Now from the 17-yard line, they hand the ball to Steven Jackson. Great hurdle move, and Jackson bulls his way for a gain of 13, tackled by Brock out at the 30-yard line.
And you just wondered when it was they were going to get back to this running game, because Steven Jackson has been the cornerstone this entire season, and he knows it doesn't always go well, but he said, I've got to touch it. I've got to run with it 20 to 25 times, because when I'm doing that, it sets up Sam Bradford to throw the ball, so they've got to keep coming to him.
Jackson at 6'2" and 236. Big, powerful back, 7th year in the league. Quick slant, caught. Gibson, Brandon Gibson, takes the ball out to the 42-yard line. Steven Jackson, a Ram since he was picked in the first round in 04. 3/4 of the Ram carries, most touches in the league, only running back in the league with 1,000 or more rushing yards in the last 6 seasons, but trying to get to the playoffs for the first time since he was a rookie.
Yeah, and for Steven Jackson, he's going against a defense that has allowed 200 yards rushing 3 times, including last week.
Well, Garrett Blount had a field day in Tampa, and Jackson gets taken down after a gain of a yard, maybe 2, up at the 45-yard line.
Now, one of the key positions when you're talking about the Seattle Seahawks is what they call their 5 technique, and they've had some major issues and injuries there. They had a guy by the name of Red Bryant playing that position, sort of opposite their best pass rusher, Chris Clemens. And when he got hurt, they really struggled to stop the run. Kentuan Balmer, Jay Richardson in there now, but that has been a position of interest all year for them.
2nd down and 9. Blitz coming. Swing it out to Jackson. He's got some room. And Tutupu finally wrestles him out of bounds, but not until he picks up a first down.
Well, anytime you're going to bring Lawyer Milloy out of the secondary on a blitz, that means your middle linebacker has to now go out and cover the back on the outside, and pretty good job inside using the tight end as a pick on Tutupu. Probably lucky that one didn't go for more.
Rams have it at the 42-yard line. Lofa Tutupu, 6th year out of USC, played there for Pete Carroll. Bradford buying time. And then that one is knocked down. So a lot of deflected passes. This time it's Brock again, number 98, 2nd down and 10.
Well, there's a good matchup going on the outside right out here. Probably the Rams' best offensive lineman, a rookie, Roger Saffold, working against the Seahawks' best pass rusher, and Chris Clemens got a little help that time from Jacob Bell, the guard. But this young man, Roger Saffold, is probably their most athletic lineman. You'll see him in the screen game being the one more often than not that they like to get in front because he is so athletic.
2nd rounder, played at Indiana. Jackson through the middle and chugs his way inside the 35-yard line to the 33, setting up a 3rd and 1. Goes in behind the fullback, Mike Carney.
Well, for Lofa Tutupu, the middle linebacker, he's going to be at the point of attack a lot tonight. And here's a guy that really has been their cornerstone on defense throughout much of his career. But this is a defense that really calls for bigger inside linebackers. It's going to be interesting to see how that position evolves with this defense.
3rd down, long 1. Fake to Carney. Ton of time for Bradford. Finds the open man. The catch is made by Fells. His 2nd grab on this drive, and he gets to the 19-yard line, 1st down.
I'll tell you, that's a great job by Sam Bradford. Nothing the coaches designed on that play really worked. They took a shot down the middle of the field with Brandon Gibson. They had to back out in the flat. There's nothing there. He just patiently surveyed the field. There you go. Just check it right down. And Daniel Fells ends up picking up a big one. So good patience that time by the rookie.
Under 10 minutes to play, first half. 7-0 Seattle, first down. Here goes Jackson again. 4 yards through the middle to the 14-yard line. Steve Spagnuolo, longtime assistant at Philadelphia, then with the Giants, made his mark there as the defensive coordinator in their Super Bowl season.
Well, Jason Smith, the second overall pick a few years back, playing that other tackle position. He moved over to right tackle because Roger Saffold was so good at left tackle. And once the Rams start to establish this run, it's going to be tough for the Seahawks. That two-way go is awfully tough for a defense when they get it going running and passing.
11th play of a drive. It's had 5 runs, 5 passes, and that pass is incomplete. Intended for Danny Amendola, who is their leading receiver. Amendola with 83 catches this season. I'll tell you another thing, Chris. They start the season. Donnie Avery's probably their best receiver. He gets hurt. They have to trade for Mark Clayton. He comes in, does a really good job. Comes over from Baltimore. He gets hurt. You have a whole bunch of guys that seemingly came in off the street as their wide receiver core.
Not to mention a rookie left tackle, a rookie quarterback. So clearly they've been trying to piece this thing together, and tonight they're going to have to show for their final exam they can win in this place.
Bunch formation to the right, and they break that. Amendola comes over to the left side, and Bradford will roll to the right along with the line. And that pass is not caught in bounds.
Well, it was kind of strange. LaRon Robinson that time had both feet down, was going to make one of those Chris Carter kind of catches on the sideline, but I think maybe his right foot came up off the ground just before the catch was made.
Of course, upstairs the coaches will take a look at that to see whether they should challenge or not. But they shouldn't. His right foot did come down. Ooh, left foot up.
Pretty close.
Possession there.
Pretty close.
But not close enough for a challenge. Here is Josh Brown, who spent his first 5 years as the Seattle kicker. And that 32-yard field goal attempt is good. And that makes it a 4-point game. We were looking at that replay on the Robinson catch that was ruled out of bounds. Boy, that was maybe close enough to challenge. You take a look again here.
Well, that stop frame right there kind of looks like a catch. He did kind of raise one foot, then the other foot, but it looked like there was one moment there where the ball was in his hands and both feet were on the ground. I don't know. Tough one.
That would have been a first down. Instead, they settled for the field goal. The kickoff now taken by Leon Washington at the 14-yard line. And Washington brings it out to the 38-yard line. Whitehurst ready to go back to work with 8:49 to go in the opening half in Seattle. 7-3 Seahawks. And Whitehurst slings it downfield, and getting open was Rubel Martin. 5 of 5 for 85 yards passing for Whitehurst.
Boy, what a first drive for the Seahawks.
Game's only touchdown. Whitehurst, there's Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck injuring his hip last week. He rolled out, ran for a touchdown to Tampa. He'd taken a couple of shots on that hip in games earlier this season. He also has a fractured left wrist, so he's worried about bracing his fall. You can see the cast on the left wrist. And there was some question even up until game time as to who would start tonight. Whitehurst from the 37-yard line. Flips it out. It's a low throw, but Forsett makes the grab. And he's forced out of bounds by the outside backer Chamberlain. Here was Hasselbeck. We were down on the field. He looked pretty good, at least when he was throwing the ball to us, Chris.
Yeah, and he goes out there and just, you could see, well, that looked pretty good right there anyway. But his problem in practice had been he couldn't rip that hip open, if you know what I mean. You know, like golf swing or anything. Watch his hips. How you sling them open and then put that left foot in the ground, and that hurt him. But tonight it looked good.
On 2nd and 5, the catch is made by John Carlson, who's their second leading receiver behind Mike Williams. Vabora makes the tackle on the play. That'll set up a 3rd down and 2
You know, in fairness, though, to Charlie Whitehurst, it wasn't like he was putting up great numbers, but neither was Matt Hasselbeck. In his previous 4 games before the Tampa game, where he only had 4 pass attempts, he had 10 interceptions. So there was some heat on Matt Hasselbeck as well. And if he can go tonight and not have to play, it would be great for him.
Short drop pass caught, and does he get the first down? Forward progress is the issue. Obamano makes the catch. Spot the ball right on the yellow line, and probably close enough for a measurement here. Kevin Dockery making the tackle.
Well, the simplest of all plays on the outside, little pick here, and let's go out in the flat. Rams adjusted nicely to it, but they got enough for the first down.
Yep, Boger took a look at the sticks, doesn't even bring the chain gang in, and tells him to move him down 10 yards. Neither team able to run the ball effectively tonight. Seattle with 115 passing yards. Ball at the 47-yard line. And Whitehurst avoids the sack, tucks the ball in. Chamberlain will chase him and send him out of bounds after a gain of about 6.
Well, the last time left tackle Russell Okung got a chance to play against James Hall, it did not go so well. It was his first start ever, but tonight, much better. You've got James Hall, who really has become one of the better pass rushers in the NFL, and at least thus far has not been effective.
Second down and 3 after a 7-yard gain with the ball at the 46-yard line. And Lynch starts to go north-south, and the minute he goes east-west, down he goes. It will be third down. Mentioned before, Seattle with the worst rushing attack in the league, 85.5 yards per game. Haven't had a guy rush for 100 yards. 3.7, second lowest in the league. Ironically, St. Louis also rushing for 3.7. Their 3.7 is a little higher.
Yeah. You know, and they really got killed when Alex Gibbs retired. They didn't know where to go. He was the run game coordinator, and without him, it just never recovered.
3rd and 4. And that pass is incomplete because you had Laurinaitis coming in and putting the pressure on the middle linebacker. When he blitzes with effectiveness, as he does here.
Yeah, and you know, the thing about the Rams is they don't blitz a whole lot, but when they do, they tend to get there. And that was the MO the first time these two teams played. It was like they sort of lull you to sleep a little bit, and you just don't think they're going to blitz, and then all of a sudden they're hitting your quarterback.
Bryant's 4th punt, fair catch called for by Amendola at the 10-yard line. 6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the opening half. 7-3 Seahawks. A couple of years ago, Bradford was playing in the national championship game, college football, Oklahoma against Florida. Sam won the Heisman as a sophomore at Oklahoma, went back for his junior year, number 1 overall pick by the Rams. They earned that with a 1-15 mark, 169 straight passes without an interception. He broke Peyton Manning's rookie record of 326 completions. Sam Bradford has not missed a snap all season. Figures to be a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year. He begins from his own 10-yard line. Out of the shotgun. Swing it out to Keith Tungsten, the backup back, number 3 back, a rookie out of Oklahoma State. Meanwhile, Bradford's had a lot of passes knocked down tonight.
Yeah, he sure has. They haven't necessarily gotten a lot of pressure on him, but when guys are getting blocked, they're getting their hands up, and obviously this is just as effective. You know, when you start getting inside the mind of the quarterback, that what the heck is going on out there, because you're not trained to look at anybody in front of you. You're looking down the field.
2nd down and 4 from the 16-yard line. Jackson cuts it back, and then in a violent collision gets taken down at the 19-yard line. 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, and this is what the Rams have done really well this entire season. They've converted 87.5% of their 3rd and 4th and 1s, which is the best in the NFL. Tonight, just 1 for 2. You remember they tried that one to Mike Carney, and that one didn't work.
And this time they give it to Jackson, and he falls forward and seems to be a little short of it. Brandon Mebane comes in and is able to get into the backfield, and the Seahawks are pretty sure that they have held him. I think they're right.
You know, they're doing that same sort of reverse out, and they're trying to influence Lofa Tatupu to go opposite where, see him overrun this thing, and then they bring Steven Jackson in behind it, but it didn't work again. That's the second time they've kind of tried that misdirection, and the second time they've had to punt.
Jones to kick. So the Rams, who've been very proficient on 3rd and 4th and short, are now 0 for 2 on 3rd and 1. Donnie Jones ready to send the ball Leon Washington's way. Fair catch call for. Flag is also down back at the 17-yard line. The ball will roll inside the 22-yard line. The marker is down just about at the line of scrimmage.
During the kick, holding, number 26, receiving team.
Wow.
10-yard penalty from the end of the catch. First down.
Yeah, there was no catch on that one. Earl Thomas kind of got in his way back there.
3:47 to the half. Crystal clear weekend here. Temperature in the 30s. The ball at the 12 as Whitehurst starts this drive. And Whitehurst gets it out to the 16-yard line. The only touchdown in the game tonight was scored by that man, Mike Williams. Williams played at SC. Then he made a bad decision. He tried to come out, and he tried to get in on the heels of the Maurice Clarett situation. Wasn't eligible for the draft. Couldn't play at SC. Gets eventually drafted by Detroit as number 1. He was a colossal bust with the Lions. Out of football for 2 years. Shows up, wins a job. He's their leading receiver in Seattle now.
It's truly a remarkable story. He almost ate himself out of the league.
2nd and 6. Comes on the heels of the Biggest Loser promo. It's perfect. Chris Baker makes the catch here. Take a look.
Yeah, well, Mike Williams, you can just tell it in his face. There he is when he came out with the Lions and put on a little weight there. You can obviously see it, and worked hard, got himself back in shape, and it is a major difference. You know, a wide receiver, he's not the fastest guy in the world anyway, but he is big. And they were telling us that anytime tonight he gets one-on-one, he's so big, he's so physical. We're throwing him the ball every time he gets those one-on-one situations. He just hasn't gotten them so far.
3rd and 5. And Whitehurst this time throws complete. They convert. Ruvell Martin, who had that big 61-yard reception to set up that touchdown on the opening drive, makes the catch here. Gain of 16.
Well, some of you might remember Ruvell Martin with the Green Bay Packers, and he was excited that he became the 3rd wide receiver tonight. He's in there working against Kevin Dockery, and it's obviously a matchup that Charlie Whitehurst likes. You were talking about it before, Al, that's his man. He really feels comfortable throwing the ball to Ruvell Martin.
That's Okun, who's injured for Seattle. He said the other day about Martin, he said he's kind of my guy. And Okun, who's been battling 2 high ankle sprains for much of the season, has to come out. He was the 6th overall pick in the 1st round this year.
This is not good news for Seattle. They're going to have enough trouble out there anyway, and we've already documented that Okun's been playing great. Did he just step on Charlie Whitehurst's foot? I mean, it really didn't look like anything happened when he was blocking. And boy, now you end up with the major line shuffling going on now.
Yeah, Columbus, the guard, goes to tackle. Pitts comes in at guard. It's 1st down. The catch is made on the outside by Leon Washington. Flag is thrown, and the ex-Jet takes the ball out to the 33 for a gain of 1. Jerome Boger, the official.
Holding, offense, number 69. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Well, you talk about the shuffle. There's the shuffle. Pitts comes in, first play, holding. 2-minute warning comes with 1:58. 7-3 Seahawks. That's Okung, who stepped on Whitehurst's foot, and the report from the bench is that he's questionable to return. Now on first down and 20, it's Obamanu making the catch. Tackled there by Ron Bartell, the corner.
Well, let's go back and take a look. You're going to see Russell Okung just stepping on the foot of Charlie Whitehurst. And of course, with all the pressure coming from James Hall, that was enough. And he has had major issues and missed a lot of time because of both ankles this year. And he said, I'm getting all my injuries out of the way my rookie year.
Here comes the blitz on 2nd and 13, and Whitehurst just has to run for his life and sling it away. Pressure put on. Laurinaitis leading the charge. The great-looking second-year linebacker of Ohio State, second-round pick last year.
Well, you reshuffle the left side of your offensive line, and here they come. Going to make sure you obviously have not had a chance to practice all this stuff all week. They had just worked Tyler Columbus in there at left guard. Chester Pitts, because of a bad knee, was basically demoted because he just couldn't get to the second level to block guys like James Laurinaitis anymore. I think you're going to see the blitz continue from that offensive left side.
3rd and 13. Pressure put on by Long, but Whitehurst steps up, and then he hits Williams. He gets tackled at the 36, and the punting group will come in again. Dockery in on the tackle. With 1:40, a timeout taken here by the Rams. 7-3 Seattle, winner to the playoffs next Saturday. Loser done for the year. This will be the 9th punt of the game and the 5th by the Seahawks. Ryan's kick, a line drive kick. Amendola on the run from the 29, takes the ball out to the 36-yard line. The Great Northwest. The second day. Oh, it's fantastic. Great shot. Heading down the shoreline. Westfield on the southern edge of downtown. Playoff berth at stake in this one with 1:35, and the Rams have the ball at the 37, and Bradford throws to Alexander, who's a big play guy, but he's had 4 or 5 surgeries since he came out of Missouri, and he's a guy who sooner or later, if he can get completely healthy, can be real big in their offense.
Yeah, he was fantastic last week. 99 yards receiving, and he is the down the field threat that they've really been missing.
2nd down and 5. Whoops. Oh, there's movement on the left side, and that is the rookie Saffold. Came out of his stance.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, it's the home of the full start.
Well, it is, and they take great pride in it. You'd have thought the Seahawks just scored a touchdown. They get about 2 false starts per game when this crowd noise gets cranking, and they think they're the reason why they have such a good home field record, and to a large degree they are.
Back to 2nd and 10. Bradford. And he's going to get sacked at the 30-yard line. They're faking the inside handoff. And that was Raheem Brock coming in along with Chris Clemens.
Well, inside of 2 minutes, the officials go back to the regular umpire position, and Danny Amendola this time is going to run right into him. I guess you kind of get used to the idea that he's not there, and so Bradford really had nowhere to go with the football. Veteran receivers sometimes will use that official, but now that they're standing in the backfield, that time it backfired for the Rams. Raheem Brock with a nice little inside move there as well. This is just setting up, isn't it, Al? This is going to be one of those old-fashioned sort of baseball scores, and maybe who makes the biggest mistake going down the stretch.
Should go right down to the end. Meanwhile, before 3rd and 16, Seattle took that timeout. They're down to 1. They want to conserve some time and get the ball back. 7-3 Seahawks. 51 seconds. 3rd and 16. And the ball's given to Kenneth Darby, the backup to Jackson, and he takes it out to the 38-yard line. And pretty much, you know, when you look at the Rams, they played conservative all season. They do right here. Seattle just used a timeout. They're going to get the ball back without a timeout. Rams playing conservatively. Didn't want to make the big mistake that could have turned it into a 10-3 or a 14-3 game. Here's Jones. Washington collects it at the 15, and they back them up to about the 12-yard line.
Well, after some of the issues that they had on the left side of the offensive line, the Seahawks make a little change at the end of that last drive, and they bring John Carlson over to block Chris Long as they slid the protection the other way. Now, if that is the answer the rest of the way, Chris Long is going to have a field day. Believe me, no offense to John Carlson, but he will not be blocking Chris Long one-on-one.
And if you take Carlson and you make him a blocker, it takes away your second leading receiver. Meanwhile, Seattle took those timeouts, but Carroll figures, no, we have the ball too deep. We don't have any timeouts. Let's just go to the locker room with the lead. So both teams at the end wanted to make sure it remained a 4-point game. And it does. Winner to the playoffs. Loser is done for the year. We go to the half in Seattle with the Seahawks leading the Rams by a score of 7-3, with the only touchdown coming on the opening drive of the game. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Andrea Kramer. Final game, final half of the regular season. The winner hosts the New Orleans Saints next Saturday. The loser doesn't play again until, well, who knows when. Sometime next season, you hope. St. Louis to get the ball as we start the third quarter. 3-yard line. Amendola. Coverage is good. He gets taken down up at the 19-yard line. Let's go down on the field, checking with Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Well, Al, Pete Carroll called Charlie Whitehurst's performance solid, and he would not even entertain a scenario in which Matt Hasselbeck would come in. Now, as for an update on left tackle Russell Okung, he aggravated his left ankle. He was the last guy out of the locker room. Pete Carroll said he's not sure if he's going to go. Steve Spagnuolo told me they can definitely exploit his absence.
Oh, yeah, no question about that, Andrea. Whitehurst, meanwhile, has been pretty solid. 15-20, 145. And the one touchdown pass. Bradford on first down, throwing to Jackson. And Jackson, the tough guy to bring down. Tupou comes in after Hawthorne hits him initially.
One thing that definitely happened in that first half, the Seahawks did a great job taking away number 16, Danny Amendola. He is their leading receiver, and effectively tonight they either double-teamed him or waited for him on those shallow crossing routes that he loves, either in man coverage or occasionally in zones where they'll let him go and just pick him up across the way. But somebody has been waiting on Amendola all night long.
Leading receiver coming in with 83, but he averages only 8.2 yards per reception. As Chris says, a lot of those shallow crosses and a lot of those passes underneath, and that's why Bradford has stayed away from turnovers this season for the most part. Robinson makes the catch here, and it will be third down, upcoming 3rd and 2.
Well, here we go. Roger Saffold, who's been doing a great job all night. We really have not talked very much at all about Chris Clemons, the leading pass rusher, and that was an empty backfield. Just wonder now, are the Rams going to begin to spread it out a little bit the way they did a week ago? They can, as long as they get that kind of protection.
3rd and 2 out of the gun with Darby flanking Bradford. Seattle blitzing through the middle, and the Rams are able to pick it up, and the pass is caught, and that will be enough for a first down. It's Brandon Gibson, but a flag is down at the 34-yard line. Referee Jerome Boger.
Personal foul, defense, number 91. Blow to the head of the receiver, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, they had picked up the first down to begin with, and then 15 more because of Chris Clemens with a blow to the head.
Well, first of all, the protection was tremendous, which is what allowed Bradford to get it out of there. He saw the inside blitz. Let's see if we can get Clemens. Well, helmet to helmet, going after him now. The rules are just like you're hitting a quarterback. You cannot do that, and sometimes these guys in the league, they're hard-headed. They want to get their shots. Clemens not used to being in coverage.
From the 45-yard line. And Bradford again slinging it out, and it's incomplete, and he was better served having that be incomplete than have Jackson make the catch. Lawyer Milloy with the coverage. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Lawyer Milloy, so many great years with the New England Patriots, also played with Buffalo, and as I said before, you go back to New England, Pete Carroll, the guy sandwiched between the Parcells and Belichick reigns, the 3rd oldest defensive player in the league, and here he is in his 15th year and trying to help out a kid named Earl Thomas, the safety, who's one of the youngest players in the league out of Texas, and that's Jackson who gets tripped initially and then stays on his feet for a couple of yards up to the 47-yard line.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to Earl Thomas about Lawyer Milloy, and we said, well, you know, describe him. What kind of guy is he? And he said, well, he's a little grumpy. I said, well, you've been playing this league that long, you're allowed to be grumpy. He said, no, it's a good thing. He said he keeps us all focused, but he's definitely a little grumpy.
Closing out his career here, and he played his college football across the lake at the University of Washington. Well, not across the lake, up the lake. 3rd and 7. And Bradford throws, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Amendola. Coverage on the play was good, and it will be 4th down.
Well, they've used a little bit of everybody on Amendola so far. This time they come with Walter Thurman, the rookie, on the outside, and Bradford wanting to make a perfect throw. You know, you get in one of these kind of games, Al, you start being a little more cautious with those throws. You don't want to throw that big interception that can turn it around.
Well, right now, Bradford's throwing almost everything underneath. 13 to 21, 104 yards. And the kick by Jones spins out of bounds at around the 25-yard line. Early 3rd quarter, Seahawks still up by 4. Winner wins the division. 1933 to the present, when the league went to divisional play. 357 division champions includes this season. This is the 358th champion to be crowned. 2 teams have won their division with a 500 record. 85 Browns, 08 Chargers. Chargers went on to beat Indianapolis. No team has ever won its division with a losing record, something that would happen tonight if Seattle wins the game. They go to the playoffs with a mark of 7-9 and host a team, New Orleans, that won 11 games. Pressure on, Whitehurst escapes from Verbora and then throws, and the catch is made by Marshawn Lynch, who then loses the football. The ball is loose at the 21-yard line, and the Rams are there, and they've recovered the ball. So the play starts with a near sack, and it would have been better off for Seattle to take that sack, as it turns out.
Well, Whitehurst makes such a great play escaping David Verbora, but then here it is. You see it so many times in this league. Guys don't try to tackle you. They don't want you on the ground. They want to stand you up so they can strip it out. And that looked like Ron Bartell that got it out of there.
He did. Bartell created it. Laurinaitis recovered it. And the ball is at the 21-yard line.
And there it is, the big mistake we were talking about, and what has sort of haunted the Seahawks team. Defensively, they've been great. They're going to have to be really good now.
First turnover of the game. Fumble by Lynch. Bradford trying to capitalize from the 21-yard line, and they give it to Jackson. And they start conservatively, and Jackson gets them 5 yards to the 16. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Yep. Well, we've talked about Lofa Tatupu inside, the Pro Bowler, playing on a bad knee this year. But here's what you've got to do. If you're a linebacker, you have to attack that fullback, and he gets it done, meets him on the other side of the line of scrimmage and makes Steven Jackson jump around, then Lawyer Milloy there to finish him off.
2nd and 5 out of the shotgun. 4 wide go the Rams here. 4-man rush. And Bradford throws, and that'll be a first down, and the 1st and goal is Denario Alexander. The Missouri rookie makes the catch inside the 10-yard line. For Bradford, as we say, hasn't missed a snap, and he's now set the NFL rookie record most passes. He had already set the rookie record, eclipsing the mark by Manning, Peyton Manning, in his rookie year with completions, now passes as well. First down, goal at the 6. Toss to Jackson. With blocking in front. Flag. He takes it to the 1-yard line. And a nice little convoy set up, but there's going to be a hold here.
Holding. Offense, number 19. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's the wideout, LaRon Robinson.
Oh. Yeah, basically they bring both receivers down inside on crackback blocks. This one comes in, and watch Lawyer Milloy. See if you think he does a little bit of acting here. Lawyer Milloy is a big, strong guy. He's going to make sure the official knew exactly what he thought was a hold. Veteran play.
Yep. Best supporting actor. Back to the 16. Still first down. 1st and goal. Amendola cuts it back inside. Picks up 3 to the 13-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
You know, it's been tough for the Rams tonight to really stay on schedule. Steven Jackson's been doing a nice job running the football, and yet because of mistakes that they're making and penalties that they're getting, it's sort of knocking them out of position, not to mention the numbers of 3rd and shorts that they have not converted, which has really been the difference.
Jackson has 9 rushes for 40 yards. Off the fake. But again, they go underneath to the outside, and this is Carney. He gets the ball inside the 10. It will be 3rd and goal for the Rams.
You know, and the Rams offensively, they have only 3 passes this entire season over 40 yards. So this is really their style. They're going to run it, play action, throw it quickly out in the flat. They have protected Sam Bradford this year, and they don't put him in real difficult situations, although you can't get a lot more difficult than he's about to face now.
From the shotgun with 4 wide. Bradford with a pocket collapsing, throws it too high, intended for Robinson. Sent 5 receivers out. 5 guys stayed in the block. Bradford under a little bit of heat. 4th down. In comes the field goal unit.
Well, there we see Chris Clemons, the best pass rusher, showing up, and he does it with an inside move as Bradford steps up. One thing Bradford will learn as he plays more is that when you go to that empty backfield, you hit that back foot and you got to throw it. There's no time for stepping up and holding on and looking around.
Josh Brown, former Seahawk, 27-yard field goal attempt. Jones to put it down, and we've got a 1-point ball game. 8:59 left in the 3rd. Seattle 7 and St. Louis 6. That pretty much speaks volumes. That Seahawk offense, that first drive, beautiful 61-yard pass along the way to the touchdown to Williams. And since then, almost nothing. Jeremy Bates, who used to be at Denver under Mike Shanahan, then went to USC and was brought up here when Pete Carroll took the coaching job as the offensive coordinator. Son of the longtime assistant coach in the NFL, Jim Bates. From the 25-yard line, they begin with Lynch, and Lynch, trying to atone for that fumble, takes the ball all the way out to the 50-yard line. So the Seahawks finally produce something on the ground. 24 yards for Marshawn.
Well, John Carlson's going to come over and sort of help a little bit here, but then it's Sean Locklear working against Chris Long on the outside, so they're sort of giving an indirect double team on the play, but that is huge because you're trying to protect that left side of your offensive line because of the injury to Okung. Get the running game going really helps.
Now Whitehurst, and he'll get taken down at the 50-yard line, so he avoids the sack. That's a 1-yard gain. Former New York Giant Fred Robbins is a penalty also, and that's going to be holding.
78. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Tyler Columbus with the hole. They'll replay it, make it first down and 20.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Boy, they have been fishing for a long time at that left guard position. And really, to make matters worse, Okung didn't look very good on that one either. So, you know, this may well play out to where the Seahawks are going to have to struggle and screen and draw and run the ball and do the best they can. The other thing that we've been noticing a little bit, Charlie Whitehurst has a way of letting that ball get a little bit away from his body and not always hold it with two hands. They're getting some pressure, so watch out for fumbles back there too.
First and 20. There's Whitehurst. Exactly what you said right there. Now he tucks it in. Gets taken down at the 42. You know, Pete Carroll, we were looking at Pete. You see him running up and down the sidelines. He's still youthful looking. He's been around a long time, but you look at him, he still has a home in Southern California. It looks like he should go out surfing every day. Pete Carroll is the second oldest coach in the league right now. Go figure. Tom Coughlin is 64, and Carroll's 59, number 2.
He looks younger than I do, and he's 8 years older than I am. I would hate that.
Second and 17. There's a big hole through the middle, and exploiting it is Forsett. And Forsett inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Craig Dahl finally tackles him, and they turn a 2nd and 17 into a 21-yard gain and a first down.
Well, that time it was Mike Gibson who does a nice job as they try to jump around. And this was one of the things that Laurinaitis was talking about. He said sometimes Justin Forsett is so small you can lose him in the backfield, and when he comes cutting out of the backside, you just can't find him. And that time there was a huge hole backside.
Lynch back in as the running back from the 37. Marshawn Lynch. And he gets rushed by Laurinaitis after a gain of a couple.
Well, this drive is just what the doctor ordered for the Seattle Seahawks, because you're thinking, okay, this is not a good running football team. You've got Spagnuolo, who smells the weakness on the left side. He wants to dial up some blitzes, go hit the young quarterback. Now you're turning around and running the football and running it effectively.
So the graphic there with Pitts, the head injury, and he won't return along the offensive front. Now Forsett will take the ball to the 31-yard line. It's going to set up a pretty big play here at this point in the third quarter, because you're going to have a 3rd down and 4 now.
Well, and you're right on that position where you're in field goal range, so you don't want a sack, you don't want anything negative. And Charlie Whitehurst tonight, some of his biggest plays have been when he's been running the ball or moving out of the pocket. Let's see what they have dialed up here.
5.5 to go in the quarter. 6 defensive backs for the Rams. They put the pressure on the blitz, and the pass is caught, and that'll be a first down for Mike Williams. Needed 4, got 5, first down at the 26.
I tell you, Justin Forsett's not a big guy, but watch this block. He's going to come across the formation and give Whitehurst just enough time as he escapes out to the right. And there's that man again, Mike Williams. They told us that every time he gets one-on-one, we're getting him the football. Our quarterbacks love him. He's big, he's strong. What a remarkable turnaround season it has been for him.
Rams come again. The blitz is picked up on first down, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Williams, covered by Bradley Fletcher.
Well, there it was again, just one-on-one, and really that's a ball that I think Charlie Whitehurst would like to have back. You've got a huge size advantage against Fletcher on the outside. Just throw a jump ball. Just give him a chance. Okung on the outside And that time they go with that zone drop. James Hall's going to drop out of there. Really a blown opportunity for the Seahawks on that one.
Swing pass, Washington, and Washington breaks away from a tackle and is close to picking up a first down. Craig Dahl almost had him shortly after he got past the line of scrimmage. Couldn't. First down.
Well, they've been trying to work this play all night. It's a little pick play on the inside where they're going to try and rub off the linebacker. So the Rams have made a switch now. They brought Craig Dahl out of the secondary because they've been picking that inside linebacker so much. So now they make the switch, but that time it was Leon Washington was just better than Craig Dahl.
Ninth play of the drive coming up. Seahawks have moved 60 yards, and Whitehurst is going to take a timeout. Timeout, Seattle. 4 minutes remaining in the third. Hawks by 1. Chris Long, Howie's son. Second overall choice in the draft. Back in 08, that defense trying to stiffen here after the timeout. First down from the 15. And Whitehurst will throw it to the corner of the end zone, and the pass is incomplete. Williams turns around, looks for a flag. No chance. Bartell with good coverage.
Well, that looked pretty close to interference on the outside, but I think this is more Mike Williams' fault here. He goes immediately to the sideline. He doesn't give himself any room to sort of fade away from that throw. If he presses that hard inside against Bartell and tries to get more straight up the field, he's going to be able to fade to that ball. And Charlie's saying, come on, man, give me a little room to throw it out there.
Second down and 10. Lynch to the 13-yard line. Laurinaitis makes the tackle. Third down and 8.
Well, that time looked like James Laurinaitis ended up getting blocked on the play, but he didn't get knocked off his feet, which is really the key thing. Good job by Spencer getting out on him, but he stays on his feet and is there to finish that one off. And now this is a monster play in the game right here.
Coming with 18 minutes remaining in the game, at least in regulation. It's third down and 8 from the 13. Four-man rush. Whitehurst running, and the pass is incomplete. And he just got it away before he stepped out of bounds. Fourth down, chased on the play by Fred Robbins.
Well, a veteran quarterback would have seen this. Your linebacker split. Look at the hole right up the middle. He steps up. Right there, first down, you got it. Who knows, maybe touchdown. They're in man coverage on the outside. When those linebackers split like that, you know it's some kind of two-man, an opportunity to take it and run it, which is one of the things that Whitehurst does best.
Olindo Mare with a 31-yard attempt. John Ryan to place it down for him. And the kick from 31 is good with 3:04 remaining in the third. The Seattle lead back to 4 again. 10-6 Seahawks in the battle for the NFC West Championship. Public market here in Seattle, not far from Quest Field, which opened in 2002. Beautiful stadium, beautifully lighted on this chilly January night. 10-6 is the score. Seattle with a 31-yard Mare field goal, and now Mare sends the ball down to Amendola from the 1, and a great flying tackle by Earl Thomas, the first-round pick out of Texas.
Boy, for Earl Thomas, it's big time or bust. He goes for everything. He has 5 interceptions on the year. Great speed, great hustle play. I'll tell you what, these two teams now playing like everything's on the line, and oh, by the way, it is.
In case you were wondering.
This is really fun tonight. Really, this is as well as these two teams can play. And now Sam Bradford, do you begin to let him go a little bit?
From the 16. And swing pass to Amendola up to the 22. Well, when you're the #1 pick, you become a multimillionaire overnight. So I asked Bradford last night, I said, what about your money? What's your biggest expenditure so far?
I really still haven't bought anything big. I haven't bought a house. I haven't bought a car. I would say my ping pong table is probably the biggest purchase I made. It's a pretty good ping pong table.
I'll bet it is. 2nd down and 4. As Bradford throws, and then Jackson can't make the catch. Started to turn around. He was covered by Babineau. 3rd down and 4. I think one of the reasons he hasn't been able to spend any money, he was telling us last night, I can't believe how much time I have to put into this job.
Yeah, it's nonstop, and he really needs his guys to make all those plays. Al, does it seem a little strange that we haven't seen Bradford throw down the field at all?
At some point, you have to do it, don't you?
I mean, everything has been so short here tonight. And yes, there are 2 deep safeties, and it's tough, but they're really starting to attack this line of scrimmage with these receivers.
3rd down and 4. Now Sam goes deep downfield, and it is incomplete. Intended for Denario Alexander, who would figure to be the guy you'd go deep to, but the pass is incomplete. Couldn't hold on along the sideline.
Well, it's one of the few times that we've seen a single safety, and they're going against Kelly Jennings, who is not a big guy at all, and that's just a ball that you've got to make right there. Denario Alexander, he's their big play threat. They've got the safety in the middle of the field. Perfect throw. And he doesn't make the play.
Donnie Jones, who's averaging 43 yards per punt on his 5 efforts tonight. Washington calls for the fair catch at the 39-yard line. So next Saturday, the playoffs begin. Wildcard Saturday, both games here on NBC. Saints against the winner of this game early. And then the night game will be in Indianapolis for the Jets against the Colts. Football night, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. NFC is going to be Green Bay at Philadelphia Sunday on Fox at 4:30. Atlanta and Chicago get the byes. And in the AFC, it'll be Baltimore, Kansas City. CBS has that game early on Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. New England and Pittsburgh with the byes on the AFC side.
The Jets weren't quite good enough for Indy a year ago, but they are better.
Yep. It's Saturday night. And that is Washington, who comes off a badly broken leg when he was with the Jets. And Seattle takes a chance on signing him, and he's been great in their return game for them.
Well, here's the big guy. You've got to keep your eye on him. How's he moving? How's he driving? The pass rush may be a little easier for him than run blocking because he can at least, his set foot is that right foot, and it's the left foot that's bothering him. So the pressure is going to be more on the right.
On 2nd and 6, pass is caught, and that's going to be Ruvell Martin, who had the big 61-yard reception on the game's opening drive, making the catch, and that will be a 1st down on his 3rd grab of the evening.
Ben Obamanu really makes the play right here, though. Nice open field block, a difficult block. Gets him off his feet, pick up the 1st down.
Final minute of the quarter coming up. The ball is at the 49-yard line. And going to his knees and making the catch and getting tackled immediately is Ben Obamanu. It'll be a gain of close to 8.
Well, I think the Rams know what the game plan is for Seattle as well, because they are keeping a safety to Mike Williams' side. Look at all the space over here. So now if you're going to attack, it has to be somebody else making a play on the other side away from Mike Williams.
2nd and 2 from the 41. Lynch to cut it back. He's going to be a little short of the 1st down. Hall, the first guy to hit him. It's going to be 3rd and 1 when the 4th quarter begins. So 15 minutes of regulation left. The winner gets to play next Saturday. The loser is done for the year. End of 3. Seattle 10, St. Louis 6 in the battle for the NFC West Championship. And Sunday Night Football continues after these messages. Seattle, fourth quarter. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Andrea Kramer. Somebody's going to the playoffs, and on 3rd and 1, it is the Rams with a big stop at the 39-yard line, just inside Charlie Whitehurst on a keeper. Spagnuolo checking out the spot. The ball just inside the 40. It's going to be 4th down and inches.
Just no push at all, and then it looked like it was Forsett who kind of knocked him to the ground. He had a little bit of a chance to bounce that thing out, but Otaegwe was there, and this is decision time.
Yeah, now what? And on a 4th and 1, they're going to let the play clock go all the way down. So I'm not going to call or are they going to call a timeout?
Second charge, timeout.
They do.
Seattle.
Very interesting. And it wasn't a timeout. I was just going to say, that Carroll was going to let the clock run down because he wanted to punt, and it didn't matter whether the clock ran out or not. So I think that's what Pete was saying. Let's just see what the call is here. I don't think he wanted to take a timeout. I don't know why you would here. The decision's going to be one way or another. So why would you take a timeout? Jerome Boger is going to contend that Carroll had asked for a timeout with the head linesman. And Pete's up. I can understand it because he was going to punt anyway. So he was going to let the clock run all the way out and save the timeout. Now they're down to 1 timeout in this game.
That was bizarre.
Very. And here's Ryan's kick with a fair catch called for at the 7-yard line by Amendola. So Seattle, as we go down the stretch, with just 1 timeout remaining.
You know, Al, it almost looked like Jerome Boger was saying, I saw him signal for a timeout.
Yep.
But he wasn't the one across the way. I tell you, that could come back to haunt in a lot of ways, including challenges and everything else down the stretch.
Absolutely. He had made the choice already. In a 4-point game, even on 4th and inches, he wasn't going to go for it near midfield. Wanted to let the clock run all the way down, got charged with a timeout. Rams start from the 8-yard line on 1st down. And Bradford throws, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Robinson. This was Carroll right next to the official. And the way the head linesman reacted is it's as if Pete was telling him call a timeout.
You know, I just wonder, he said something about timeout. You could read his lips.
Yep.
I wonder if he said we don't want a timeout and the official misunderstood him somehow.
2nd and 10. Jackson picking and threading his way to nowhere to the 11-yard line. Tighter shot. Let's see if we can do some lip reading here. I don't know. What do you think?
Somebody knows. It's just not me. You could definitely hear timeout as part of the sequence. And it looked like the official tried to sell Jerome Boger on it, and he would have nothing to do with it.
3rd and 8. Crowd at full throat. And Bradford has it tipped, but the pass is then dropped. Despite it being deflected, Fells could have made the catch and dropped it. 4th down, and they'll punt from deep in their own territory.
Well, the ball got tipped, but not enough to really impact this throw. And Daniel Fells, who is sort of their guy they feel most comfortable throwing the ball to down the field, clearly has a shot at this one. So on back-to-back drives now, they drop passes that weren't easy, but definitely catchable.
And Seattle figures to get fairly decent field position here after the Donnie Jones punt. Washington from the 39. And he brings the ball across the 50 to the 48-yard line, tackled there by Dawes. Seahawks have it. 13:07 to play. 10-6 Seahawks. Pete Carroll, who does more pacing than any other coach in the league, going back and forth and looking up at the board. And again, let's go back and try to do some lip reading here with the head linesman.
Looks like he says we're going to call the timeout. Okay, with 3 seconds or 2 seconds, and then it looked like he sort of figured it out. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, and then went back and said we don't want to take the timeout. Convinced this official, but Jerome Boger said, you called timeout.
And you're right, Boger wasn't buying any of it. So they are down to one timeout. It may be moot, or it may be really important. We'll find out as Whitehurst throws incomplete downfield, intended for the tight end, John Carlson. 2nd down and 10.
And that was a good incomplete. O.J. Atagwe was right underneath Carlson, and I'm thinking there's no way Whitehurst is going to try and throw that. Yes, he did. That was a good overthrow. Boy, it's one of those games, kind of like one of those 1-0 pitching duels, you know, where every play kind of has a little significance now.
More and more as we go down the stretch at 2nd and 10 from the 48. And that is caught. That's going to be a 1st down. It's Ben Olvamano who gets free on the near sideline and moves the chains. 1st down to the 35.
Well, the Rams really in a very soft coverage here. Bradley Fletcher way out, and basically you just wonder if they felt like that, okay, they've got a lead. Whitehurst is going to be conservative, and here they come out with 2 straight throws. The Seahawks are playing to win the game, as our friend Herm Edwards would say.
You do play to win the game. Lynch. And Lynch will pick up a 1st down. So Lynch with another big run, and that time behind the fullback Michael Robinson, providing the leverage. And he takes it from the 35 to the 22 for a gain of 13.
All right, you be the official here. See if you think that Robinson may have gotten away with a little hold on this one. Locklear with a good job. As Long has right there, you can't really see it, but he kind of hooks the hip of Keel. You know, championship football, where they say you're not cheating a little, you're not trying, and Michael Robinson's definitely trying.
From the 22, Forsett is the back. Off play action, and then the pass is incomplete over the top of Forsett's head. It'll be 2nd down, and Carroll looks for a flag and won't get one.
Russell Okung doing his job here. He's in some pain. But again, he just out there fighting, you know, and we're down to that part of the game now where one of the best young tackles, one of the best pass rushers, and something's going to give. But give Okung a lot of credit. He's a nice young man, very personable. He's had a tough year with those ankles, but he's out there fighting his guts out because he has to. They don't really have anybody behind him.
2nd and 10. Well, that's a backward pass. And it's Golden Tate, a rookie from Notre Dame, picked in the 2nd round. He gets it to the 19-yard line. And 3rd down, and every 3rd down play for the rest of the game figures to be fairly critical, and this one is 2. 3rd down and 7.
Well, you called that one correctly. I thought that was definitely a backwards pass, and in this situation, those kinds of plays can really blow up in your face, and kind of got away with one there.
3rd and 7. The ball is at the 19.
Pressure look.
Forsett comes in. Then they send him out into the pattern. And Whitehurst throws, and the pass is incomplete. So they had Forsett out wide, then brought him in. It looked like he'd be in there to help block, and then sent him out into the pattern. And it's 4th down, and Murray will come in to try to make it a 7-point game.
Well, I think you're starting to see some nerves show up between these two teams now. That was another drop. Forsett that time with an opportunity. We've seen a lot of misplayed balls here in the last few minutes.
38-yard attempt. for the 13-year veteran who spent so many seasons with the Dolphins. Ryan to put it down. And Murray's kick from 38 is good. 10:53 remaining in the fourth. Seahawks by 7. Well, Hasselbeck is trying to stay loose on the sideline just in case. Pete Carroll looks like anything but a coach in a very critical game, which nears an end, as Danny Amendola will bring the ball back out to the 23-yard line, and the Seahawks have done a nice job on kickoff and punt coverage tonight. Pat Shurmur, the nephew of Fritz Shurmur, who was the defensive coordinator for years at Green Bay and was the DC when they won the Super Bowl in the mid-90s, but he's the offensive coordinator. And Sam Bradford tonight, look at that, that's from the line of scrimmage. 26 of the 30 passes have been less than 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Almost everything underneath tonight. From the 24. Does he start to go downfield? We'll begin with Steven Jackson. And that's a gain of a couple to the 26-yard line.
You know, it's really interesting. The one thing that Spagnuolo has been criticized for is maybe being too conservative. You know, he's a defensive guy, and, you know, are they letting Bradford do enough? Now, honestly, the way the Seahawks are playing, they've got those two deep safeties, so you understand it. But it is also gets awfully tough as they start to compress to keep throwing those underneath balls.
Well, they've had 6 3-and-outs tonight, trying to sustain a drive on 2nd and 7, and Bradford, who has a good arm, airs it out, and the pass is incomplete. Alexander is there, and it goes right through his hands.
That's 2. You know, I mean, that's Denario Alexander right here. You're going to get up and inside, and Lawyer Milloy's not going to quite get there. It's not a hard catch. I mean, this is a perfectly thrown ball. That is not a hard catch. Never even put a finger on it, I don't think. The lack of a big play threat down the field without Clayton and Avery is really coming up to bite the Rams in this game.
The play they were looking for, and he couldn't make the catch. And now Bradford deep again, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Gibson, and Jennings didn't even turn around, but Jennings was able to block his view as the pass came his way, and it's 4th down.
Well, yeah, and you know, this is, again, if you have a veteran receiver, maybe he comes back to the football a little bit here and runs through Jennings and gets the pass interference call. You know, once you get on the other side of a DB, if you really just plant and drive back through it, they'll give you a pass interference call. We saw Lawyer Milloy with a real veteran play earlier in this game, and not so much now out of the Rams.
And Jennings covering on the play, and he is hurt. The right cornerback for the Seahawks. So Pete Carroll's defense does its job, and they're going to get the ball back when we come back.
Big injury on the sideline. It could well mean a rookie, Walter Thurman, has to come in to replace Kelly Jennings the next time the Rams get the ball.
Here's Donnie Jones's 9th punt. Leon Washington from the 23. Can't get on track. Gets tackled by Dahl up at the 27-yard line.
Well, it's sort of ironic that the thing that's been saving the Seahawks has been their running game, and this has been one of the worst running teams in all the NFL, and yet here with all the chips on the table, it has been a variety of backs making a variety of looking plays and taking pressure off of Charlie Whitehurst. Boy, they would love to have another one of those drives. All they need probably is a field goal, bleed the clock a little bit, and you'd feel pretty good about this one.
The drive starts from the 27. And Whitehurst backing up as he throws it Obamanu's way. Second down.
Yeah, now you're starting to see the Rams defensively. They've got to take some chances now. They can't sit back. And let's give Seattle some credit that when they have seen that sort of 8 down in the box look, they have thrown it. And they told us before the game they had great faith in Charlie Whitehurst. They were confident. They didn't think you would mess up the game. And boy, it has really shown from the first play on.
2nd and 10. Here come the Rams. Whitehurst under pressure. And the pass is incomplete. He's able to get it away, and there was a receiver in the area, so no grounding. George Selvey, the rookie from South Florida, put most of the heat on.
Now it's George Selvey out here on the outside working against Okung. But that was really on Charlie Whitehurst. He had John Carlson coming across the formation. They're bringing pressure. You can't hesitate. You've got to get it out. It's one-on-one. Get it out of your hand. You don't want these guys feeling like they can blitz you and have success.
3rd down, 10. The pump fake and then the throw, and that's going to be out of bounds. Mike Williams down the sideline. Bartell with the coverage on the play, so it's a very fast 3 and out, exactly what the St. Louis defense wanted. 3 and out and take very little time off the clock.
Yeah, they were aggressive. You know, I would have called the same plays, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, they were in man coverage. You got to win the battle on the outside. One of them was Whitehurst's fault, but that was a great defensive stand there for the Rams.
So at a time when you might want to think about milking the clock a little bit, Seattle had the ball for 15 seconds, and now not a very good kick by Ryan, a very short kick, and Amendola comes up and makes the fair catch at the 40-yard line. Stan Kroenke, who's been the minority owner of the Rams for years, he and his wife Ann are now the majority owners, and he's watching his team try to come from behind and get to the playoffs. It's a pretty good portfolio. Owns the Denver Nuggets, the Colorado Avalanche, Arsenal, the soccer team in England, and the soccer team in Colorado.
Hope he has a good satellite dish.
Very good. And a TV network. From the 40-yard line. 2 fakes by Bradford, and that buys some time, and Gibson makes the catch and gets the ball into Seattle territory to the 48-yard line.
Well, I tell you what, this has been amazing how many tip balls we have seen tonight. I think Will Herring gets a piece of this one, and they still complete it. You know, maybe the Rams finally getting a break, but for Sam Bradford, this is where you make your name. Everything's on the line in the next couple of drives.
So a little bit of a fire drill before we went to the replay. They wanted to go without a huddle. So they get collected. It's 1st down and 10. They want to pick up the pace, and it gets intercepted at the 37-yard line by Herring.
Have no idea what Sam Bradford saw here. When you look at this from behind, there is no throwing lane. There's nowhere to go. You know, you just, in this league, you cannot decide in advance that you're going to try and throw a football in there. There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing there. He predetermined, and nerves may be getting the best of a lot of these Rams at this point.
Herring's 4th year in the league, 1st career interception. The ball's at the 37-yard line. 1st down for Seattle. Work the clock a little bit. Lynch. Chris, I had mentioned just before the play that we saw it before the replay that they were running around a little bit, and it looked like the guys weren't sure that they wanted to pick up the pace. And so Bradford's coming to the line. The guys are trying to get set, and maybe that's what led to what Bradford did on that particular play.
You know, Sam's going to have to just take a deep breath. Okay, that one was completely on me, guys. Nobody else. You guys did your job. There's no way I should have tried to fit that thing in there. And he's probably going to get another shot if the defense can do it again for them.
And they've been doing the job. They forced a 3 and out the last time. It's 2nd down and 6 from the 41-yard line. Lynch with a 1st down. And exactly what you need at a time like this when you want to chew up that clock. 1st down at the 48-yard line, tackled by Laurinaitis.
Will Herring with the play of the night right in front of you there, looking right at Sam Bradford, whose eyes never wavered once. I guess he just was looking at the inside defender because he wasn't any more than 1 yard outside Brandon Gibson there, and I'm sure Herring was probably as surprised as I was that he tried to throw it in there.
Down to 7:15. Lynch again. Into Ram territory he goes. Gain of 4 yards, 2nd down and 6, and Lynch is slow in getting up.
Well, they don't have any shortage of backs over there, so they'll keep rolling them in. But I cannot tell you, Al, how impressed I am. I mean, this is just a gut check by the Seattle Seahawks team. Much maligned. They took a poll here where they said, do you want the Seahawks to win or lose? More people said lose because they wanted a higher draft pick. They had completely given up on this team.
That's what happens when you lose 7 out of 9. 2nd and 6. And Whitehurst will run for a 1st down and get planted at the 38-yard line as Fletcher comes up. Bradley Fletcher, but Charlie gets right back up.
And I tell you, this will get he was clearly trying to slide at the tail end of the play, which would have made this a penalty, but he didn't do a good enough job of it. As he comes out on the outside, and he's been making big runs all night, so he's going to try to slide, and then he got some help from Bradley Fletcher.
In real time.
I tell you what, I love it. When the quarterback bounces up, those offensive linemen get fired up.
And so does the crowd. The ball at the 38 on 1st down. And Whitehurst will throw, and that's caught over the middle, and that's a gain of 9 yards. Obamano is going to make it 2nd down and 1.
I really have to give a lot of credit to the guts of Jeremy Bates, the offensive play caller for Seattle. He has not wavered at all in his conviction that Charlie Whitehurst could get this done. He is throwing passes at times when a lot of guys would not be taking that kind of chance. They've got a division title on the line, backup quarterback, and they have not stopped throwing the football.
2nd and 1. To the fullback, and that's not going to be a 1st down because Robinson is going to be stopped a little short. So a huge 3rd down coming up here.
You don't think Jeremy Bates got a little bit of that from Mike Shanahan, do you?
Ooh.
Mike
That's
was,
right. Sure.
He always went for the jugular.
Third and 1 from the 28-yard line. And now they gave him a 1st down on that play. Wow. And that's why the crowd responds. They gave him 1st down. And here is Lynch. Whoa, boy. Well, the ball carrier got stopped, then got up, and they gave him a very good, let's go back and take a look at it. A great spot.
All right. The red line's where the ball was snapped.
That is a great spot for Seattle.
Well, and a horrible spot by the officials because it looked like he was clearly down, and it should have been 3rd and 1.
And it was
elbow down right there, and that is at least a yard short.
Absolutely. Should have been challenged and wasn't. 2nd down and 9 from the 27-yard line. Lynch to the 25-yard line. Clearly in field goal range right now, which would make it a 2-possession game. 3.5. Rams with all of their timeouts.
And now I don't think you'll see another pass because a field goal at this point in the game almost ends it. And Jeremy Bates, who's had so much guts in his play calling tonight, but I'll be stunned if they do it again.
Under 3 to go. 3rd and 7. Lynch to the 21. Now the Rams better take a timeout. 2:45, and they will. So the Rams take a timeout. Go back and look at this spot. I mean, it's almost, it happened so fast that they moved the change that Spagnuolo may not have had time to challenge it. The guys upstairs could have said, hey, look, you got to challenge that spot, because for all the world it looked like it was going to be third down.
I just have no idea what they could have seen to put the ball over that yellow line.
Well, that's what they saw at the end. He puts the ball over the yellow line, but they spotted it initially well back of it. Had they challenged it, they probably would have won the challenge, which would have set up a third down and inches instead of a first down. They're able to chew up some of the clock. They're able to put Maury in position right now where he's going to attempt a 39-yard field goal to make it a 2-possession game. And you got a whistle before the snap. And the Seahawks say it should be on the Rams, and if it is, it's going to be a first down.
Wow.
It was 4th down and 3.
Sometimes those centers like to play games and flinch the ball a little bit and try to get the defense to jump.
Encroachment, the contact, defense, 5-yard penalty, and the penalty is up, and it's first down.
Well, the center is Clint Gresham. That is a first down. Will compel the Rams to take the remaining timeouts. Check it out again. And there's the encroachment. Gary Gibson looked like one of the first to come in. Fred Robbins comes in as well.
The ball never flinched. There was nothing to draw them off sides. Amazing that they make that kind of mistake in that situation.
No game playing there. Well, the Rams can stop it twice plus the 2-minute warning. And here's Lynch, and he fights his way to the 11-yard line. And the Rams between the old rock and a hard place here right now. Do you want to take your timeouts on this side of it? Well, Spagnuolo doesn't.
His guys just did not catch the football and make plays down the stretch. In a tight game, you have to take advantage of opportunities. You know, you can't say they went too conservative. They were throwing the ball down the field. And then the huge mistake by Bradford at the end with the misread.
And meanwhile, the Rams let the clock run down. I mean, to me, you take your timeouts on this side of the 2-minute warning. That's a wasted almost 40 seconds. 2-minute warning. 7-point game. Winner to the playoffs. Loser done. The drop passes, the holding call, the non-challenge on a play in the first quarter, the bad spot here in the fourth quarter, and now they're in dire straits.
Yeah, and would not be surprised to see a bootleg come out of here, because you know the Rams have to really attack this run. They're not going to throw it, but they could run him.
2nd and 5. Here's Lynch, and Lynch is going to work his way to about the 7-yard line, at which point the Rams take a timeout. There's also, no, they don't take a timeout because there's a flag on the play.
Holding, offense, number 64, 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
That's Mike Gibson. He says, not me.
Boy, that was going to be a 3rd and 1, potentially game over.
Right.
Yeah, go right over here. There's Mike Gibson. A little grab of the shoulder pads inside on that chest plate that usually doesn't get called. Offensive line, everybody holds that thing, so tough call.
Big for the Rams, because not only would it have been 3rd and 1, the Rams would have had to take a timeout. Now they don't. Clock's still at 1:54, 2nd down and long, and they can take their timeout here at the 20-yard line, and they're down to their final one. As the ball is at the 20-yard line, it will be 3rd down And 14, NFC. Again, Green Bay meets Philadelphia Sunday on Fox. The New Orleans game against the winner of this game is on NBC Saturday at 4:30. Atlanta, Chicago don't play again until the following weekend with the byes. We have the Jets and Indianapolis at 8 Eastern time here on NBC. Baltimore, Kansas City, CBS early on Sunday. And New England and Pittsburgh will take the week off and proceed to the next round with the byes.
I don't think it bothers Pete Carroll that he may end up being the first team with a losing record to make the playoffs. The way, look at him, he's still having fun, and he had fun all week with these guys, and they responded by having a little fun themselves.
3rd down and 14 from the 20, and again it's Lynch. And the Rams will take their final timeout here at the 16-yard line, but now Murray comes in again with a chance to make this a 2-possession game. And if ever you have a great play for a field goal block, bring it out of the playbook if you're the Rams.
A major disappointment thus far. I mean, most people really felt like the Rams were the young and up-and-coming team, and Sam Bradford was the guy, and Charlie Whitehurst had not really shown anything as a backup quarterback. And here we are, and it started from the first play. And I really have to give Pete Carroll a lot of credit for the way they attacked this game from the very beginning. I thought it was the difference.
The first drive, the touchdown on the first drive, 34-yard attempt here for Murray. Ryan to put it down. And the Seattle Seahawks are up 16-6.
They believed in Charlie Whitehurst from the opening plays of the game, spreading him out, letting him make plays. And that play right there where Kevin Dockery tried to knock it down, jump up in the air, and Whitehurst ducked underneath was a huge moment. And then, of course, the touchdown coming back across to Mike Williams. And that set the tone and really was the difference in the game. That opening drive is really what has set these two teams apart. But for Charlie Whitehurst, if he laid another egg tonight, Al, I have to think he may not even been coming back next season the way he played in some of these earlier games. But tonight, with all the pressure in the world on, he delivered.
Yeah, they gave him $10 million for 2 years. That last drive too, Chris, almost as important as that first drive, because that's when you needed to take time off the clock. They just took 7:05 off the clock, 13 plays, 47 yards.
Got a little help from the officials along the way.
Right, and came after the interception. There's a bouncing ball that's fielded up at the 25-yard line. Do we have another Dane Connolly run back? We don't. CJ Ayu with the run back. And the Rams tonight with so many missed opportunities. That
the
first drive
holding call. Look at the official up top. It was that initial hold that they ended up calling. They don't challenge this one. End up settling for a field goal when it would have been 1st and goal.
This was the killer here too.
Mario Alexander letting one go between his hands, and then the awful interception by Sam Bradford.
Now from the 41, needing 2 scores, no timeouts, and they got a flag for an offside, so this is going to be a free play, and Jackson will pick up the first down to the 48-yard line, but they'd rather get some time back on that clock. Chris Clemens came across the line and was offside for Seattle.
It was kind of a bizarre play. I think somebody blew a whistle because all the players stopped. There was a moment there where everybody just sort of relaxed.
It was almost like unabated of the quarterback could have been called.
It was like a little half whistle. Oh, maybe I'm hearing things. I'm getting old. I don't know.
You're not as old as Pete. Carroll.
Chris Long. Defensively, the Rams did their job. Just got nothing out of the offense.
Rams would like the penalty to put the time back on the clock.
Is that we had unabated to the quarterback.
There you go.
Defense, number 91.
Well, now, if it's unabated, the play should have stopped and they should have put the time back on the clock.
And just mark off the 5-yard penalty.
Right.
Please reset the game clock to 1:33.
There you go. All right, so they put the time back on the clock for the unabated of the quarterback. As the player stopped, you're right, there it is.
Yeah, and they try to protect the quarterbacks, and I think that's a good call. You know, I mean, you don't want the quarterbacks in this league taking free shots like that.
Right, so the Rams get the time back on the clock. It makes it 1st down and 5 from the 46-yard line. And Bradford slings one to the 35, and that ball winds up on the ground. Was it caught? No, incomplete. LaRon Robinson. Ball came loose, but it's ruled an incomplete pass.
Boy, that was some read that time on the part of Sam Bradford. Let's see if this one's, boy, I tell you, he had control of the football, wasn't exactly tucked away.
Well, they may look at that upstairs because you saw Spagnuolo motioning to the guys, get back in the huddle and run a play here. He doesn't want that checked. Babineau is there. Did he put it away is the question. The guys upstairs are in control right now.
I think they're going to call down and look at that.
Well, 2nd and 5, they must feel that he never had possession. So there's no review from upstairs. Wow. We keep on going. Flag now thrown, and the pass is incomplete.
Prior to the snap, the layup game, offense, number 8, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Let's go look at the play in real time and see if it was a catch or not. Can't tell.
Pretty bang, and I understand they're going to err on the side of incomplete in this league. I just thought that it was close enough to where you would want the officials on the field to ultimately decide that one.
2nd and 10 with the ball at the 41-yard line. 4-man rush. Bradford under pressure. Sacked at the 37, Raheem Brock. Good night for him. Second down and 10. 1.5 sacks tonight for Brock. Final minute. Sam again's going to go down. The ball is loose, and that's Brock again. So the former Indianapolis Colt having a big game and looking forward to a playoff game next week.
Yeah, and he looked like Dwight Freeney here. I think he learned this from Matheson. Freeney with the Colts. Watch the little inside spin move here. Beats Jason Smith to the outside. Whip around. Got him.
4th and 22. Last gasp. And the pass is caught, but not nearly enough for a 1st down. Seattle takes over on downs after the catch made by Fells. And the Seahawks will come down the stretch, having lost 7 of their last 10, having finished with a record of 7-9, but going to the playoffs, and the New Orleans Saints will be in here on Saturday.
We are becoming the network of the backup quarterbacks. Matt Flynn, what a great show against New England, and Joe Webb last week, and Charlie Whitehurst delivering a tremendous pressure-packed performance tonight, and he did it almost without mistake.
And as you say, they did a good job on the ground running the ball. The worst rushing team in the league, 142 yards on the ground. 1 kneel down will end it, and there'll be more football in Seattle in 6 days. First team ever with a losing record to win a division, advance to the playoffs, meet the Saints here on Saturday afternoon.